Hi there, my name's Phil Shannon. I first bought this business, which is just purely a fruit and veg shop, about 42 years ago. And compared with the current times, taking over the business years ago was a lot easier than it is today. Nowadays, it all seems to be computer, ticking boxes, and answering to everybody and anybody. But I will say supermarkets coming onto the scene like they did in a big way, I think has upped everybody's game. And we've had to up our game, in a big way, really. We've had to make sure every produce is good, it's presented correctly, and the only downside now is there's less and less small local growers, which when I took over, I probably had around about 30 local growers. Now, seriously, I'm down to about 3 or 4, but I think that's due to the small business, the small market garden people can't survive, and they can't get people to work for them. And with the minimum wage and things like that, it's just priced it completely out of the small man's reach.
Hello, my name is Jules. I am the part of the lead management team here. I started off very, very part-time. Phil was very accommodating, allowing me to work around the children. And now, as I say, I've been here for that time and have sort of progressed into the management role. With regards to fruit and veg, which predominantly was what we are, we have moved on massively from that, because if it was down to just fruit and veg, we wouldn't be still standing here to this day. We use as much local suppliers as we can and still do, and the local produce that we have is fresh, and that's so appealing to our customers, because that's what they really like, and to support farmers and other local suppliers. When we look to our produce, we have monopolised on what we supply. So we started off with, implementing flowers, pet food, things like that, whole food, health food. But it's grown and grown and grown. So, it might be that people come in here, they don't even pick up any fruit and veg. It might just be all health foods. And, we've had to bring that into the shop to make the shop work. So we've got the right balance. We've got really high-end class 1 fruit and vegetables. And so that goes hand in hand with the other produce that we sell, because it sort of works with each other. So if we have the blueberries and raspberries, and we have our kefir, we have our Dorset dairy yogurt, all the whole foods, the grains like golden linseed, bulgur wheat, all very much impacting on gut health, because that's massive now in this industry. Gut health is right up there with everything else in the health world. With regards to our also pet food range, we are very competitively priced, and the only people that probably, and they match us or we match them more to the point, are Pets at Home. They sell pretty much the same stuff that we do. James Wellbeloved is a massive seller, but people within this village who have got animals, and it's a very, very pet orientated area that we live in. But there's people that don't have the access to cars, and the public transport here is it's very limited. So if they can get to the local store, as in us, to get all their pet food belongings and food, then that makes their life easier. And with the cost of fuel as it is, to then go and drive 8 miles up the road to try and save yourself £1, well, really it's not viable. So I think people really are getting to understand the logistics of what we are trying to achieve by keeping everything in our shop under one roof.
Hi, I'm Jenna. I've worked at Hylands for over 20 years. I started working here when I was 14 years old, and this was my first job, and it gave me a great opportunity to work where I live and learn some new skills. What I love about this shop is the family feel that this shop has. We all have a great team here. We all work really closely together. We can all have our own inputs within the shop too, which is something you don't get at big supermarkets and companies. Another thing that I love working here is the relationships that you build with the customers that come into the shop. You get to build relationships with them. I also live in the village, so you get to know them. They come in here and kind of chat with us as well. And you kind of have that real personable rapport with them as well, which is really key. Again, you don't get that in big supermarkets and big kind of company places. So in 2020, COVID happened, and we felt a real strong community presence in the village in general, but particularly in this shop. Everyone was out supporting their local businesses, which was really key for us. And that also kind of encouraged us to develop a little bit further and bring in different produce that customers needed along the way.
To the point where, apart from toilet rolls and Fairy liquid, we pretty much sold everything else, because all the supermarkets and places like that, they couldn't supply flour, they couldn't supply pasta, they run out of milk. And we, with our local suppliers that supply us, they were able to support us as we've always supported them, and there was nothing we couldn't get. So we were so busy, so going from 2 staff working here pretty much in the week, obviously more at the weekend on a Saturday, we went from 2 staff to 8 staff working each day in the shop, doing orders, click and collect, doing deliveries, looking after the elderly, looking after people unfortunately that had COVID, with our delivery service and collection, and making sure the shop was safe for not only our customers, for the staff as well. As time went on, we had gloves, we had masks, we've always had anti-bac for our hands, and kept the door open. We're always wiping, sanitising everything to make it a safe place to work. And we've actually carried that forward even now. And we've certainly grown as a business. It's hard work. It's probably harder work to make a living and be profitable than it was, say, 10, 12 years ago.
I will be handing over shortly. Well, I've handed it more or less over to my son Neil, which runs the show, and he does all the technical work with the computers, and the tills are all linked to the internet and one thing and another. So
he will have to implement new ideas to take the shop forward, and because nothing stands still. We've seen that over the last sort of 6-7 years. The shop hasn't stood still. It's grown and it's grown and it's grown. As I say, it's harder than it's ever been, but we still reap the benefits.
And I've got my two lovely grandchildren which come to work for me, Harry and Ruby. Girls-wise, fantastic staff, I've got to say. They've been with me for years. And they all back us up, and we all work as one small but very tight unit.